Self-organized criticality, SOC, is a fascinating paradox where complex systems naturally evolve to a critical state, meaning even tiny events, like a single grain of sand, can trigger massive, unpredictable changes. But how does this happen without a central controller? Imagine continuously adding grains to a sandpile. At first, they just settle, but eventually, one tiny grain will cause an avalanche. Why does the system reach this delicate balance between order and chaos? This phenomenon isn't just limited to sandpiles. It appears in earthquakes, financial crashes, power grid failures, traffic jams, and even the way wildfires spread. Think about how stock markets behave. A small sell-off can sometimes lead to a full-blown market crash, or how, in biology, networks of neurons in the brain can suddenly synchronize, leading to an epileptic seizure. Could this explain why societies, ecosystems, and even technological networks seem stable for a long time, only to collapse suddenly? Scientists use models like the Bachtang-Wiesenfeld sandpile, forest fire models, and critical phase transitions in physics to study SOC and its implications. If nature naturally organizes itself into these critical states, can we predict or even control when a small change will lead to catastrophe? Understanding SOC is essential for improving disaster forecasting, AI systems, and even designing more resilient networks. Self-organized criticality, SOC, describes how complex systems naturally evolve to a critical threshold, where minor disturbances can trigger large, unpredictable events. Unlike engineered systems that require fine-tuning to reach a critical state, SOC occurs spontaneously in nature due to interactions between system components. This emergent behavior is observed in a wide range of phenomena, from earthquakes and forest fires to neural activity in financial markets. In a pile of sand, slowly adding grains causes occasional minor shifts until, at a critical point, a single grain may trigger a large avalanche. It's like stacking dominoes. Most small nudges have little effect, but once a key threshold is reached, a single push can collapse the entire sequence. Good systems exhibit power law distributions, meaning that small events occur frequently, while large events happen rarely but with significant impact. This pattern suggests that rather than being random, these systems follow universal scaling laws, where minor fluctuations contribute to major changes. Power laws are mathematically expressed as distributions where event probabilities follow an inverse exponential relationship, highlighting the self-similar nature of SOC. The frequency of earthquakes follows a power law where small tremors happen often, but massive quakes occur rarely, yet with catastrophic effects. It's like traffic congestion. Minor slowdowns are common, but once a critical density is reached, a small disturbance can lead to gridlock. Physical systems exhibiting SOC often reach a phase transition between order and disorder without needing external adjustments. This happens because internal feedback mechanisms naturally tune the system toward instability. The interaction of many small elements leads to a dynamic equilibrium that is constantly on the edge of major reconfiguration, much like a sandpile maintaining its slope despite frequent disturbances. Magnetic materials near their Curie point show SOC-like behavior, where tiny changes in temperature can abruptly alter the entire material's magnetization. It's like a snowpack on a mountain. Gradually accumulating snow may hold steady until one small disturbance triggers an avalanche. Biological systems exploit SOC to optimize efficiency, adaptability, and robustness. The nervous system, for example, operates near a critical state to balance responsiveness and stability, enabling efficient information processing. Similarly, ecosystems exhibit SOC, where small environmental changes can sometimes lead to major population shifts, demonstrating how species interactions regulate ecological balance. Neural networks in the brain exhibit criticality, where small electrical impulses can either dissipate or escalate into large-scale synchronized activity, like in seizures. It's like a murmuration of starlings. Individual birds adjust based on neighbors, yet the collective flock exhibits large-scale, emergent patterns without central control. The Earth's climate exhibits self-organized criticality, where small fluctuations in atmospheric conditions can tip the system toward extreme weather events. Feedback loops, such as Ice albedo effects and ocean currents maintain the system near a threshold where minor shifts in temperature or CO2 levels may lead to abrupt climate changes. This non-linearity makes long-term climate predictions particularly challenging. The sudden collapse of ice sheets due to gradual temperature rise exemplifies SOC, where accumulated stress is suddenly released in large-scale environmental shifts. It's like a leaky dam. Small cracks may not matter initially, but at a critical point, the structure can collapse catastrophically. Markets exhibit self-organized criticality, where financial bubbles and crashes emerge from small fluctuations in investor behavior. The interconnected nature of global finance means that minor changes in trading sentiment, policy decisions, or algorithmic strategies can trigger cascading economic events. This makes financial systems inherently volatile and difficult to regulate predictably. The 2008 financial crisis was driven by accumulated risk exposure in mortgage markets, where small defaults led to widespread economic collapse. It's like pulling blocks from a Jenga tower. Individually, each removal seems harmless, but at a critical moment, the entire structure collapses. Large-scale infrastructure failures often follow SOC dynamics, where accumulated stress within a system remains hidden until a triggering event exposes vulnerabilities. This is observed in power grid failures, bridge collapses, and network outages, where local instabilities can propagate into system-wide disruptions. Engineers attempt to mitigate SOC effects through redundancy and stress testing, but eliminating all risk remains impossible. The 2003 North American blackout started with a single transmission failure which cascaded through the grid, affecting over 50 million people. It's like removing a single screw from a machine. Most of the time it makes no difference, but at a critical moment, it can cause total failure. Despite SOC systems being driven by deterministic rules, their complexity makes precise long-term prediction impossible. While statistical models can estimate event probabilities, pinpointing exactly when a major occurrence will happen remains elusive. This paradox highlights how even simple systems can give rise to emergent unpredictability when criticality is reached. Can predict the frequency of volcanic eruptions over decades, but cannot precisely forecast the exact day or location of the next eruption. It's like shaking a soda can. You know pressure is building, but you can't tell exactly when it will burst. Understanding self-organized criticality has applications in designing resilient artificial intelligence systems, optimizing urban planning, and improving cybersecurity defenses. Researchers explore SOC in network resilience, where decentralized systems dynamically adjust to prevent total collapse. Additionally, machine learning algorithms inspired by SOC principles aim to develop more efficient adaptive processing models. Internet traffic follows SOC dynamics, where minor disruptions can trigger widespread congestion, making network optimization a critical research area. It's like managing a beehive. Local adjustments keep the colony functional, but exceeding a threshold can lead to a complete system collapse.